Well, an editor and writer for the New York Times opinion section has resigned, saying that she was harassed for ideas that didn't conform with a liberal point of view. In a scathing resignation letter, Bari Weiss writes, "Stories are chosen and told in a way to satisfy the narrowest of audiences, rather than to allow a curious public to read about the world and then draw their own conclusions." Weiss continues, "My own forays into wrongthing have made me the subject of constant bullying by colleagues who disagree with my views." Joining me now on Skype to talk more about this is Robert George, McCormick Professor of Jurisprudence and Director of the James Madison Program in American Ideals and Institutions at Princeton University. Robbie, welcome back. Great to see you.
My pleasure, Tracy. Thanks for inviting me back onto the show.
Absolutely. Well, cancel culture is a term we've been hearing a lot about these days, and it seems to be the latest example of it. For people not familiar, what exactly is it, and what type of impact is it having on free speech?
It's rooted in intolerance, dogmatism, an unwillingness to listen to another person's point of view, to seriously entertain what another person has to say, if that person challenges anything you yourself already believe. That attitude is toxic to truth-seeking, so I hate to see it in institutions that are dedicated to truth-seeking, have as their mission truth-seeking, like colleges and universities. It's also pure poison to a democratic republic, to a polity like ours. In order for this democracy to be sustained and to run according to the vision of our founding fathers, the brilliant vision of those men, it's necessary that we treat each other as fellow citizens, not as enemies. When we treat each other as enemies, then we think that when somebody steps out of line, we need to cancel them. That's what cancel culture is all about. We need to destroy them. We need to make their lives unlivable. We need to make it impossible for them to find employment. We need to drive them out of the institutions where our team or our tribe or our group has control. This, again, is toxic. It is poisonous to our civilization. And that's why we have to fight back against cancel culture. We have to model engaged citizenship, toleration, a willingness to listen to other people, to engage them in a serious way, even if we disagree. And we need to insist on that being the standard for the institutions in which we operate.
Yeah, Robbie, I know that you've spoken quite a bit about this and the impact it's had on the world of academia. Let's talk about the piece that you wrote on the difference between critics and bullies. And can you go over the examples in your piece and what stands out in your mind as a key difference between the two?
Well, a critic is someone who tries to persuade you with reason and argument. A bully is someone who threatens you, your employment, your professional advancement, your educational opportunities, if you dissent in any way from his opinion. There's all the difference in the world between those two things. If someone wants to tell me that I'm wrong to believe, for example, the Catholic faith, or to hold to the pro-life cause, or to believe that marriage is the union of a man and a woman, or to believe that Republican democracy is the right way to go. If someone wants to engage me in argument, give me reasons, cite evidence, and is willing to listen to my counter-arguments and allow me to challenge back when they challenge me, I have no problem with that. Far from it. I welcome that because they are now partners with me in the truth-seeking process. We're both open to each other, willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to engage. But if somebody says to me, you had better fall in line with my beliefs, because otherwise I'm going to cancel you. Otherwise I'm going to smear you as a bigot or a hater or a racist or a homophobe. And I'll make sure that with your ruined reputation, you will never work in this town again, as they used to say. Well, that's bullying, and I simply will not stand for it. In fact, I will stand up to the bully, and all of us should do that. Bullies, Tracy, are cowards. Your folks told you that when you were a little girl in school on the playground. My folks told me that when I was a little boy. Bullies are cowards. They always turn out to be cowards. And this is exposed when one stands up to them. We need to stop cowering in fear, whether those bullies are on the right or the left or somewhere else. We should stand up to bullies no matter where we find them, stand by our own rights, and in defending and exercising our rights, know that we are protecting the rights of others.
Well, Robbie, do you think, though, that the bullies are winning in all of this?
Well, they are, because not enough people are exhibiting the courage to stand up to them. And that's what we need. We need more courage. We're in this country really lacking, wanting, and suffering as a result of the lacking and wanting of courage. My dear friend Cornel West and I have a piece coming out in the next day or two in the Boston Globe, in which we talk about the need for two virtues that are so deficient in our culture: honesty and courage. If we would just exhibit more honesty, speaking our minds, saying what we mean, meaning what we say, and if we had the courage to do that, the courage to stand up to the bullies, the fearlessness to express the truth as God gives us to see the truth, no matter what other people think, we would preserve this magnificent experiment in ordered liberty and Republican democracy that our founding fathers pledged their lives and fortunes and sacred honor to give us.
Oh, Robbie, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us about this today. We really appreciate it. Always great to see you. Robert George, McCormick Professor of Jurisprudence and Director of the James Madison Program in American Ideals and Institutions at Princeton University. Thank you again, Robbie.
My pleasure. Thanks, Tracy.